All right, that's Exodus clawing their way back, and the teams are getting into a tough spot now where there's only 30 minutes between the start of each match. So both Pandemic Legion and Exodus have 20 minutes now to do pick, spans, reorganize, react to what happened and everything. That was crazy. I thought Exodus would be out.
Wow. I mean, I have faith that Exodus could do it. I didn't think they would. And they just, wow. I don't even know what to say. That was really impressive showing from them. It was a very close at the beginning, but then once Exodus got the lead, they held on to it and just systematically took apart PL.
Yeah, I was really happy to see them pull that out. It was pretty close at the beginning. It was a nail biter the whole way through. And so many points in that match. It could have gone back and forth either way. Just a great, great match.
Yeah, it was really, really incredible play by Exodus. They countered a lot of the plays perfectly. They made PL waste a lot of time at crucial key points. If we want to show some of that match, actually, I think I might be able to keep some up here.
If you have anything, then by all means, let's take a look here.
So let's go ahead and cue this up. Gonna put my glasses on so I can see when it
Spaceship
is
glasses.
properly on the screen.
I'm curious to see how far off that Myrmidon was tackled. We had the one Harpy shooting the Myrmidon, and I'm curious if he just webbed him.
I'm actually
going to
highlight two key moves in the start and then see if I can shuffle to that Myrmidon.
Could you unplug it quick and plug it back, and they're not getting a feed from the iPad. Let's just see.
So one interesting thing we can talk about real quick while we're waiting for this is that Exodus was still thinking that they were going to go with a sentry-based setup, and that's why they brought the Scimitar. Scimitars are a lot more hardy against sentry drone damage. So the Scimitar did stay up a crucially long amount of time, which allowed them to eliminate enough DPS off the field during that time that they could eke out the victory in the end.
Yeah, the Sigrid is the speed tanking a little bit there you saw. And until he was webbed, I mean, he was kiting the damage pretty well. Once they got the web on him, it was only a matter of a few seconds. But as long as he was able to keep the web off of him, he was in good shape. So,
all right, we're not actually getting a feed from the iPad, sadly. So we'll try and come back to it later. But for now, we can just talk about it just a little bit now. So and Exodus switched their kind of approach up a little bit again, which has been working out.
Something I was talking about at the break was in that first match, having those Merlins fitting E-War in the mids rather than tackle, they weren't able to really counter-tackle the Executioners and wound up dying. This time they went with some more aggressive support frigates, the assault frigates, a lot of damage there, not a whole lot of E-War, and they were able to spread the PL team out a little bit and apply quite a bit of damage even as they lost their drone boats. So I think it was just all around a little more aggressive setup from Exodus, and they really went all in with it.
Well, and it's like a multi-tiered threat platform, right? You've got Gilas in the mid-range that can go in and brawl because they do have great utility in the highs with newts and what have you. And then you've got Sleipnirs and Claymores up front, which you want to kill because that's a good amount of DPS, but you have to kill the sentry DPS first. So it was an overall really good setup by Exodus, but I think we've seen that before by a different team or some close variant.
Yeah, definitely. But you know what? It got them the extension. They don't have to pack up and go home. And I wonder how PL must be feeling.
And that's the thing. How does PL react to this? Do they pull out? I mean, now, are they forced to show maybe a setup that they had planned on saving to the final? You know, now it's do or die for both teams. They really don't want to throw against Exodus. They had a really close first match. They lost the second match, and now their backs are to the wall just as much as Exodus are. So
yeah, well, and Exodus is coming out of this with some confidence. So, I mean, morale definitely does play a big part in this type of scenario. Exodus also did a really good job at adapting there. You know, they're like, oh, we're banning out armor-based drone boats, except for we're going to bring Myrmidons and Vexers instead. So what they did was they kept the Gila around, but then Exodus also brought Gilas.
Yes.
So it doesn't completely eliminate the sentry drone part of that match. So they did a good job there.
Super interesting, and I'm just looking at our little tournament tool here, and I'm waiting to see if we can get some of the bans up here.
That's where the captains will be banning as soon as they got out of that match,
The ban-
essentially. How pressed for time they are, really.
The match starts in 15 minutes, so that's like bans and reorganizing and everything.
Well, actually, both of these teams are not unfamiliar with that because both these teams have been in the SCL. Seamus never was, but Gobbins and Elise were. So they're not new to this whole, we're rushed, we have to get this done right away.
If I recall, Gobbins was always very bad about getting his bans in.
Yes, he was. Gobbins was like a perennial thorn in our side. When everybody else is ready, Gobbins never is.
Is he running it now as well?
I think Seamus is running this
Oh,
one.
Seamus, yeah.
Seamus is running
Because
this
Seamus
one.
has been
But
pretty bad
Gobbins
with
has
the
been
bands.
Gobbins has been FCing practice teams. He's an
Yeah,
integral part
right,
of the
right.
team there.
Yeah.
He's one of their theory crafters.
Yeah, because we've had 2 situations now where Seamus has simply forgot to do half the bands.
Yeah.
So you know, a little bit back and forth. I'm not sure the tournament tool has completely updated yet, but what it looks like right now is that the bands are the same as last. So PL looked to have banned out the Vexor Navy issue and the Ishtar again, while Exodus looked to have banned out the Guardian and Oneros.
Maybe we have little mind games going on here too. I mean, both sides are wondering, are they going to bring the same thing back again? And do we dare bring something different? Or obviously PL would have to mix it up if they think Exodus is bringing the same thing back. But this is where kind of the best of 3 and the banning meta comes into play a little bit. Is trying to, do you psych yourself out, and do you make the wrong choice because you overthink a situation?
I think that just due to PL's experience alone and these prolonged banning, who's, you know, this like mind play, they would probably come out on top. So I think that coming into this 3rd match, I'm favoring PL a little bit because of that. I think that in these long drawn out situations where it's rock, paper, scissors a lot, and what are we going to bring? What do you think we're going to bring? What do we want you to think we're going to bring? I think that they do have an advantage there.
If I were to speculate, and I will, I think this might be a good situation for Exodus to bring the same thing again. I think they might.
I mean, what they have working for them in that setup is that it's versatile.
Yes.
But they also have the option to bring that rattlesnake comp that they ran yesterday. And while I think that overall this is the stronger setup, I think that the rattlesnake comp worked well against inexperienced teams where it's like, hey, I'm going to put a rattlesnake in your face, please shoot me. And whereas they just leave all the secondary alone, and that's more the core of the group. They could run that again, and I might even consider it, but they have to consider, you know, how well would it fare again if PL brought the exact same thing again.
But, you know, I do agree with Brent that the setup they just brought is one of the strongest setups that we've seen from them. And actually, he and I had looked at similar setups for Rote Capel earlier this week. I was talking about a setup we had given them that I didn't see. I was surprised to not see. Very similar to that one.
Yeah.
For that exact reason Brent was talking about, having a multi-tiered threat. You have mid-range and close-range options. You have very aggressive support that can either pull back and, you know, defend your mid-range guys or go in and, you know, kill small things or, you know, web scram that Myrmidon off the fight like we saw. And so it's just a very good, well-rounded setup. If they're comfortable with it, they're feeling confident, you know, I agree with you. This is probably a good time to bring it back.
So part of what makes a good tournament setup good, and it's a bit different this year because we have the sentry drone meta where you can't say, okay, well, I'm just going to leave a couple assault frigs behind to protect my logistics or my secondary, whether it be helas or what have you. But you need to have a back line that has the ability to protect your Logi against enemy assault frigates, sabers, that type of thing. Like I said, it doesn't come into play quite as much now that we have sentry drones that are just so strong when teams use them well.
Yeah.
The thing about sentry drones is that we've seen early in the tournament that there's a lot of teams that will just use them poorly and fail, even if they have, you know, on paper what looks like a good setup.
Yeah, and I think also for the PL drone Logi team, like the no Logi drone team, like yesterday when they were bringing that out, it's hard to tell what you call first.
Oh,
Like
absolutely.
it's sort of a toss up what you call first, but they showed it yesterday, and then they brought variants of it again. Those teams had all last night to practice against it to figure out what they want to call first and all sorts of various variations of that.
Yeah. Well, and Pandemic Legion did what they did was after that team, the Ishtar, Gila, Vexor, Myrmidon setup, after it was beat by Hydra, they went after the Myrmidon first. Hydra went after the Myrmidon first, took the Lynx off the field, and ended up winning. What they changed was they just made the Myrmidon more tanky. So then when Exodus came up against it and they said, we're just going to primary your Lynx ship, it didn't work. It actually probably lost them the match. If they'd have gone the opposite route, if they'd have taken out Ishtars or Vexors first, they probably would have come out with a win.
Yep. It can come down to something like that, like a sort of shell game, where it's like something is. If
Well,
you,
that's exactly what it is too. It's a shell game. You know, it's what have we changed? You don't know.
Yeah. What's bait tanked here? Did you primary the bait tank, or are we all tanked like that? Should you switch primary now while the ship's still on the field? It all comes down to different stuff like that.
Don't target the bait tank. That's not what you want to do.
I hear you. You've never targeted a bait tank. ever.
It's never happened to me in my life. I always target the right thing.
My first time FCing in EVE Online, 2009, I believe. was in faction warfare, and I had like a small like 5-man gang, and I came up against a BYDI like 10-man fleet. And back in the day, BYDI were pretty much the kings of low sec around Black Rise, Tama area. I decided that it'd be a great idea to primary a broadsword. So I actually have primary a bait tank, but only the once, never since.
But a broadsword isn't really a bait tank. It's just a tank.
Right, what?
It's not obvious.
The thing is, it's like
I wonder-
there's like a high DPS battle cruiser. Let's kill the broadsword. But you know, that's just an experience in Eve.
Yeah.
And I mean, you learn a lot more off of mistakes than you do off of victories.
We used to run a players versus devs tournament at FanFest, and that was the last time I've flown against players. And we had some really smart guy. I think it was CCP Atropos, who is legitimately a really, really good PvPer and flies around in his Rifter, killing all kinds of things that are much bigger than himself through some. And he put together a team of us, and I'm not much of a PvPer. I might as well just admit. And I got my Rifter, and I had everything ready, and we undocked, and as far as I remember, the tournament was just like you had different warp in points, and you just went for it, and when you arrived on grid, you just like go balls to the walls. And by
A
the way,
little closer to Tranquility PvP than tournament.
yes,
PvP.
yes. And I got in, and I clicked my guns, and nothing happened. And I had no ammo in my guns, so I opened my cargo hold. I have no ammo in my cargo hold, and I look up again, and I'm in McClone in a station. And I'm just like, all right, I think I'm playing with people who remember fundamental things like loading their guns and bringing ammo. So
Yeah.
maybe I should just stay in the station.
Bringing ammo to the fight
Yes.
is very fundamental.
You would have loved to see CCP Shrieks in the most recent FanFest tournament, who just didn't fit half of his ship.
Well, I mean, and you talk about these close together matches. I mean, the FanFest tournament this year, we had something similar, and I flew with some of the guys on the Hydra Reloaded team. Hart SP was the captain of that one, and we flew the same setup back-to-back 2 matches, something we may see here, and something even Hart, who was won tournament several times in the AT and Neo and so forth, he forgot to repair the overload on his ship, so he got to the field, his ship was repaired, but his invulns were 3/4 burnt out or something. That's the sort of mistake that even veterans can make in the rush that we're seeing these pilots go through right now. So
Well, and it's captains usually develop this process. Every time when they're getting ready for a match, they say, "Okay, everybody, check your clone, check your damage, make sure you have enough ammo, make sure you have all the charges you need, blah 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 blah."
Repair
And
pace.
once you get in the routine of doing that every time, it becomes easier. But it's you still do see those mistakes from what we'll call professional players.
We absolutely do, and it happens to the best of us. Although it probably happened to me because I'm fairly bad, but that's another side of the story. We do have a guest calling in, one of our good friends. It's SappaWorks. You may know him as In-Game, who is calling to talk to us about this event he's been running every year. How are you today, SappaWorks?
I'm doing great, thank you.
So you're calling in. I think we actually had you call in last year. So what's this awesome event that you're running?
It's called Eve Vegas.
It's an event that I tend to visit now and then.
I hope, as far as I know, you're scheduled, in fact, to be there this year. So
Oh, really? All right. Well, so I think I've been to every single Eve Vegas so far. And where is it at this year?
So this year we moved to the Rio from the Paris, and I think when we talk about everything that we're doing new this year, you'll see why that was an awesome move.
All right. What's new this year?
All right. So this year, instead of a regular pub crawl like we've done the past 2 years, where we just had a massive humanity moving, we're actually going to step it up a bit to Vegas levels of excitement, and we're getting limos to split up groups into peoples of 50, with a dev leading each group, hitting a string of bars, and then ending at a final bar to be able to really get the full Vegas nightlife experience. Now, unlike prior years, we're not going to end it at a fancy nightclub where half of our attendees can't make it into. We're actually going to have a private area and a bar/club for us just to have fun in. So that's going to be happening Friday night, as well as a real-life ISK poker tournament. So if you don't want to drink, you can go to the poker tournament. So we'll have that set up for Friday night. On Saturday, we're actually going to, instead of having one main room, we're actually going to break it up into 3 rooms this year. So we're going to have a EVR tournament going on during the session. We're going to have a Dust PvP tournament, as well as an Eve PvP tournament. We're going to, of course, have player speakers, and we're going to have dev speakers. And then Saturday night, we're really stepping up our game with the reception. And instead of just having some space inside of the convention area with an open bar, we're taking over the nightclub on top of the Rio Las Vegas, and we're going to be partying 60 stories up in the air with a view of Vegas, with open bar and food as you normally expect. And then Sunday, we're just going to keep it going with a championship round of the Dust Tournament, the EVE Tournament, as well as the EVR Tournament, and great speakers.
If I was allowed to swear, I'd say something like poop. Wow, that sounds amazing. So the pub crawl is going to be us driving around in limos from bar to bar.
Yes, limo party buses.
Wow.
Sounds like a great way to facilitate a weekend of debauchery in Vegas.
Absolutely.
It does. And so I've been going to these for, I think, 3 years in a row now. And they're by far my favorite EVE event outside of Iceland. Like, we go around to a lot of things, and I think we had, what do we have, 250 last year, and it was just awesome.
Yep, so this year we're hoping for more. We're already at 193.
Yeah.
And this is beginning of August. We're hoping that everyone watching at home, if you're considering going, you have two options. You can buy a ticket for cash. Right now, they're selling at $200 cash, or you can buy it for Plex. It's the first year we've worked with CCP to get this going. So you do have two options now in order to do this. We have finished our player speaker selections. We'll be announcing those each day moving forward on both Twitter, our Facebook page, as well as through the forums. And today we announced our first player speaker is Kriba.
Ooh.
So we're actually flying Kriba in to the States. It's going to be his first Vegas trip, and we're very excited.
Just for those doing mental math right now, how many Plex does that work out to be to buy the ticket?
I think it's 15.
Okay,
50?
sounds about right. All right.
That's pretty reasonable.
You know, if party at the top of the Rio, pub crawl led by a dev in a limousine, 15 plexus. I like spaceships, but I do like Vegas.
I'm willing to shell out a few space bucks for that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Zappa, will there be flags on the dev pub crawls? This is very important.
I think we can arrange something even better, maybe showgirls.
Oh.
Well, I don't actually. That's
You can't
that's
steal
You can't take those home with you.
That's-
That's
that's-
Wow,
We have to
wow.
stick with flags.
Is that a
That's
challenge?
up to
that
your
you can't
skills
steal
to
showgirls?
take them home.
No, Fozzie, Dolan, we can't have you not be around. If you're incarcerated, you cannot continue to do the amazing work that you do here.
And so, of course, we're going to have all the player speakers. There's going to be all these events. And so I'm going. There's 5 or 6 other devs going.
Yeah, we have a great selection. I'm waiting for final approvals to be done to kind of unleash the agenda on everyone. I think everyone's gonna be really excited when you see what we've kind of put together. CCP really stepped up this year to kind of create this the event it could be. So we're very excited. Rooms at the Rio are only $99 a night. That gets you a suite. It gets you free internet in your room and no resort fees, so it's a pretty good deal considering the regular price is $159 plus fees. And ticket prices also enter you into a prize drawing. Every 50 tickets we sell, we give away a prize to a random lucky winner who gets a limo transportation to and from the event. They get an upgraded suite room, plus they get diamond status with all Caesars Palace casinos.
Which is pretty awesome.
It is.
So there's one more thing, which has really nothing to do with the event, but keep in the back of the mind that this could be you. I think we had someone drunk go up to a blackjack table last year and win $40,000 or something silly.
It wasn't me, but yes, that did happen, and it was amazing.
Yes, we had been out. I think it was the Friday of the pub crawl, and on the way, and there's this one guy who I think gets too drunk to really continue, and his friend takes him home, and on the way home he's like, "I'm gonna gamble," and the casino are like, "Sir, you're probably not really fit to gamble," but somehow he talks him into it, and he just puts all his money on 5 times in a row and just walked away with like 40,000. And he bought a few drinks the rest of the trip, I can tell you that. So
He did. Yeah, as big as the parties that we do are, the player private parties and the corp parties are even crazier. So if you're not big into EVE, you're looking to make friends, you're trying to figure out how to get into a group, EVE Vegas is the perfect place to come, make those real life connections, and make your game experience that much more fun.
yes. So what are the dates and what's the website and all that stuff?
It's October 18th to the 20th. That's at the Rio Las Vegas. The website is evevegas.com. And from there, you'll see links to the Facebook group to get more information. That's where I post the majority of the data about what we do next. The Twitter page, as well as the ability to buy tickets from there. We sell tickets through Eventbrite.
All right. Well, I think we're going to head into the match very shortly We are at 6:30 Eve, which means that our final Pandemic Legion versus Exodus match should be coming up. Thank you very much for coming on, Sapperworks, and can I just encourage everyone, having been to this event for a few years running and absolutely going to this one, come to Eve Vegas. It's fantastic. This deal sounds superb, and you'll get to have a beer with Sapperworks, myself, a load of other Eve players like Kriba and developers.
I want to know Zapworks' pick for the match.
Oh, yeah, all right.
I'm rooting for the underdog. I was very impressed by Exodus in the last match, and I'm hoping for them again. And if anybody wants to take bets, I'm willing to do so.
In true Vegas style. All right, thank you very much for coming on, Sapperworks. We are going to go into the quick predictions here because the match is ready. Who do you think is going to win this back?
Oh God, I'm gonna go with my heart and say Exodus, even though I'm gonna go with Exodus.
I'm going to go with my heart and say Pandemic Legion.
Scumbag.
My heart's black and cold.
I'm going to go with Exodus. They're longtime brosifs, and I really, really, really want them to get to be successful here.
You know what? I have a cold black heart as well, so I'm going to go with Pandemic Legion, but we're going to go into it in a minute or two. Man, now I really want to go to Vegas again.
It does sound like a
so
really good time.
After the tournament, let's just go.
Yes.
I'll call up, I'll iPad now and book a flight.
Yes.
Wait, don't you
Book
guys
me a
have
flight
somewhere
too.
else to be soon?
Oh, yeah. So, speaking of player meets, so do you want to talk?
Look at that segue.
Do you want to tell everyone where you and I will be next week?
So myself, CCP Soundwave, CCP
Bedic?
Bedic, CCP
Fraser, I think? Frelsor,
whatever, he's a nice guy. A member of Team 5-0.
Yes.
And we also have CCP
Another nice guy.
Havoc.
Maybe.
Whatever.
It's probably going to be heavy.
He's very nice as well.
It's
But
so
we're going to Serbia.
Yes.
We're going to be in Belgrade on Thursday. We're going to be at the Black Turtle. It's going to be a great and wild time. We've already sold upwards of 200 tickets, and by
Yes.
sold I mean given away for free. And we're going to have lots of drinks and go pub crawling and all this sort of stuff. It's going to be a lot of fun.
We have an open bar, don't we?
Yes, we do. We have open bar and open food. It's important to have a balance.
Yes. So if you are from Serbia or just happen to be in Belgrade, please stop by next Thursday. It's going to be amazing. Free food, free drinks, 5 developers.
Six developers.
6 developers.
Yes, CCP Frame, one of our Serbian-born developers, is going to be there as well.
That's true. And we will be there and talking about spaceships, just having a few drinks and a few laughs, and it's going to be quite awesome.
Do you know where people interested can find information about this?
They can go to the live events portal on our forums and check out the link there. They can also go to CCP Belgrade at .eventbrite.com.
Yes. That's pretty cool. I think we've also seen a commercial. I think Fozzie's going to Eve Down Under, which is another really cool event. That's been run. I think it's the second or third time that's run, but we haven't actually sent anyone before, as far as I remember.
I've Skyped in with them, and they were a lot of fun.
Yes.
They seemed like a ton of super cool guys.
Yes. Although it's in Australia, where virtually everything kills you. Every single animal, even dogs and cats, are extremely venomous.
I hear the way CCP Fozzie is getting there is not by plane because he doesn't want to risk the transport to and from the building. He's actually going to his native Canada and tunneling directly through the earth to the venue in Australia.
Yes.
So Australia more dangerous than the center of the earth.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. Do we have any other awesome events that our players can come and meet us at?
Well, we're also going to have an event at Gamescom, actually. So Gamescom is actually one of the few times we're going to be trying out a new VIP ticket. So, of course, there's always the free ticket.
Yes.
It's first come, first serve ticket on eventbrite.com. And you can go to CCP Gamescom 2013.eventbrite.com. But we also have, for around €10, a VIP ticket that gets you in a half hour earlier and gets you a custom-made, one-of-a-kind event T-shirt for Gamescom 2013.
And you get a free hug from me.
Oh, is that thrown
That's
in
part
as
of
well?
the deal. That's the €10.
Is there a time
All the
limit?
other stuff is free. Making a T-shirt doesn't cost anything.
Is there a time limit on the hug, or can they just keep you?
7 minutes.
7 minutes, yeah.
Okay.
7 minutes. 7 minutes.
Are you guys going to do anything for PAX?
I don't know.
Who knows what we're gonna do? We might just
All
be
this
like,
crazy
oh, is it
shenanigans.
PAX? Let's get on a plane
Yes.
and go straight to PAX.
So, yes, and I'll be at Gamescom as well.
Oh, you will be?
Yes.
Okay.
Well,
Okay.
that's the hug.
That's the hug. I won't be at PAX. I went to PAX a little while ago, and it was actually pretty great. I quite liked it. It was the West Coast one, though.
Yeah.
PAX West.
So this is PAX West, PAX Prime that's coming up.
Yeah.
I went to previously PAX East in Boston, where we had a great event there as well.
Boston.
Showed off Boston. Showed off Dust 514 and some EVE Online stuff. I actually flew and died on a roam live in front of an audience.
Really?
Two-Step, former member of CSM7, got his full snake set pod, and Faction Fit Slipnir killed because I got him to log into the computer and roam with his corp. His entire corp got hot dropped in about 30 seconds. Because a guy in the audience was texting
Really?
to his alliance, and they hot dropped him immediately.
Really?
Yes.
That's very EVE Online.
Yes.
That is very
EVE
long.
Online. So I went to PAX a little while ago. This was 2-3 years ago. We were just starting to talk about Dust, I think. So there was a pretty big EVE booth, and there was like 5 or 6 of us developers that were there to just talk. And every single hour, someone had to go up on stage and do a presentation, because like all these other booths have all these. Like I think we were next to the SingStar booth, right? So they had a stage, and everyone went up and sang. And I mean, EVE isn't really like a get up on stage and sing or roam or something like that. So we had to do a presentation, and they asked us to do a presentation on something new people might find interesting. And I sat down and I wrote a guide or an instruction on how to get into EVE Online and scam from your trial account. So my presentation was just like, download EVE Online, you can go in, and it doesn't really matter if you want to shoot people or not, but you can instantly get rich off all these other people in the universe that aren't terribly bright. And that was my presentations, and I thought I'd get in trouble for it, but I didn't, and actually people there seemed to enjoy it. So
Yeah, why would you get in trouble for it? I mean, that's the key part of EVE Online. That's what got me into the game originally to begin with. I heard about some big player scams and said, I want to do that.
that's what I used to do as well.
The best was, so at PAX East, we were doing the very first handout of the pirate noob ships. So the first ever time they were handed out to anyone, I was basically anybody, me and myself and CCP Guard, free spaceships, blah, blah, blah. So we had EVE Online players who realized as soon as they picked the first one up that they were selling for like 500 million ISK on the market in JITA. So then they would keep coming up to us with disguises, attempting to get more and more cards. We had one guy who came first in a full beard, and then progressively less and less beards every time. And I knew it was him every time because he was wearing the same clothes, but I just gave him more and more
I mean, for
spacious.
the
Like
effort
he was
you've
trying.
gone, right?
It was all about trying.
Oh, that's so amazing. Coming in with less and less beard. Oh, well, you know what? That's
End of
That's
the
also
day,
very
he's bald and destitute and wearing a
Yes.
homeless man's clothes.
yes. Oh, well, they are funny events, and it is nice getting out to meet some of our EVE players. I think we also have a London meet soon.
Do we?
I think so. I believe we have one coming up. I'm not
You
invited
guys
to that
actually
one.
ever, I was going to say, you're not invited. You guys actually ever stay here in Iceland and you know? It's just meets all
Don't
over
be
the place.
ridiculous.
Our develop-
Why would they want to stay here?
It's actually, so it's funny because the player meet in Serbia is us on our summer vacation, just
Yes.
taking
Oh,
a
yeah.
yeah.
This is not a this is a CCP sponsored drinking event
Yeah.
that we
works.
just happened to be in Belgrade.
Yes.
So we decided let's meet our players.
Yeah. And Gamescom for us is our big expansion reveal. That's where we're going to reveal what we're doing for winter. So if you guys are interested and in the area, go to Gamescom. If not, then I'm sure that the internet will be full of facts and information after myself and CCP Seagull tell everyone what's going to be happening. Dylan, are you looking up events right now?
Yes.
What I was going to mention is one I've been to twice now is just FanFest, which is miles away right now because it just
Yes.
happened. But
Yeah.
honestly, I was a little skeptical the first time I came. I came with Brent, and it was just a blast. I mean,
It's
I
so
can't
much
even
fun.
explain how fun it was. And one of the things that really kind of was exciting to me, both this time and last time, was to get to meet people that I have flown with, flown against, blown up, scammed, all of the above, and to sit down and just have a beer and laugh about it with them.
Yeah.
And that's really not just the CCP people. It's also fantastic to meet them, but just to meet the players you've interacted with for 6, 7 years, however long some people have played, even up to 10 for some, and to be able to meet them face to face and put a face to the name.
By the way, does anyone want to hear the names of those devs I'm going on vacation with and could
There you
remember their
go.
dev names on?
Go for it.
The full list of those attending the CCP Belgrade event is going to be CCP Soundwave, CCP Dolan, CCP Frame, who is Serbian himself, CCP Bedik, Senior Content Designer, CCP Conflict, QA Engineer, and CCP Frelicus, Software Engineer.
Frelicus.
Yes.
Frelicus. I knew it. Anyway, the match is ready. as far as I remember, myself and Dolan are going with our cold black hearts, and our two.
We're being warm and fuzzy.
Yes.
I've just decided that Fozzie's the most handsome man at CCP.
All right. Breaks my heart a little bit. Could have waited till the stream was over to say that. All right. Anyway, let's figure out who meets Hydra in the finals.